Hi everyone. So today, as I've been clearing out upstairs and clearing out and trying to, de-stash in some ways, it's a big job, but what I've got, I found these little books that I've taken the contents out. So I've got the spines, so I've got a couple of them, but instead of having a whole heap of books sitting around, what I thought I would do was find the other ones that I've got that I'm going to use at some point and take them out, take the spines off the backs. Now I can keep these inner pages to use inside if I want to, or I can choose to throw them away, but it seems to me that it's easier to keep a box of pages that I can use in a signature and flat book covers ready to go than it is for me to just have a box of books sitting there. So I'm just cutting through. So inside the spine, if you haven't done a class or seen anyone else doing this before, it's just the inner workings of the spine. And this is where the glue's gone, and these are each of the signatures that have been put in. So I'll show you. So this is like we've been doing with our other ones with the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. This is how they would do it if they were doing it in the factory. So I used to work in a binding printing factory. That's what my apprenticeship is. And so that would be one signature. So as you saw with my book the other day, that's how it is. And then they glue it, and they use that, see that little bit of netting stuff? That helps it to all stay stuck. So what I've done in the past, if it's, say this book, this was a homemade, the Illustrated Home Dictionary, this is an old mouldy cover. It's still okay, it doesn't smell. I think it's been washed down and cleaned before I picked it up from the op shop for $1 or $2. What I did was put the covers aside, and then if it's something like the dictionary where I really wanted the pages, I don't know if I want these pages or not. They're very small, the type's really small. They might come in handy for a tiny junk journal, I guess, folded like this and in half, as a way to have a page you can gesso on or collage on. It would be actually quite a cute little tiny book, this one, if we use some of these pages. So with the other pages, so I've had them ready and stockpiled, I've come down the side and cut off that spine. I'm not necessarily going to do that with this now. I just want to get a couple of books ready. Now I'd like to keep those end papers, so you can have a look. There's glue down here sticking it to this little bit of paper, but I can see here that there's a really good little gap. Good gap to get into there for the spine. Now you don't have to be so fussy. I mean, obviously if I wanted to keep the end papers, I didn't really want to cut it there, but it's okay because, you know, it's a junk journal, and when we're making these and we're putting in old bits of paper and all sorts of things, we can just glue that. So I didn't really mean to cut that, but you know, sometimes it's easier to just come in on the end paper. I wanted to see if I could keep the end paper on this one. Now that's gorgeous. Look at that, that's beautiful, that old bit of paper there. So I'll definitely be using that in a journal. So I can just come down the spine in there. like that. Another one ready to go. I do love that. And I like that it's got this sort of stained waterlogged kind of look. So I'm going to make something from these pages after I've done this. Now, Stalin's Children, we wouldn't like a book that's called that. That's not really a good heading, but it was $1 at the op shop and it's a good solid spine. I think there's pictures in the middle. Probably don't want any of those. They might go in the rubbish. I don't know. It might be a good book. But I'm not quite interested in that topic really. Okay, so nice clean spine there. And they've used this is a binder's thicker card because you can feel the binder's glue on it. So that's what it's like underneath with this bit of binder's tape at the top. So this way I've kept the end paper and it's cut, but I don't need it. It's white, it doesn't really matter. It's not stunning like this, you know. It's not like this lovely end paper. That's beautiful. Now I feel I can store these a little bit easier, ready to be made. This one, I don't know if I want, I don't know, I haven't read it, so I don't know, but it seems to me it's a historical work about that whole time of Hitler and Stalin, and I don't know. I'm not into war. I don't like any of this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's not really anything I think that I would want to put into a junk journal. So having said that, there's something about making your junk journals and what paper you look. So drinks with the KGB. So that's going in the bin. I'm not interested. It can be thrown out. It doesn't need to be used as junk. Now these are a few ideas of how I've got things ready in a pile to make a junk journal. That's a little bit of an offcut of an envelope. So we can use everything. But the main thing is, as you saw if you were looking at episode 7 of Journalist Stitchery, what I've done is gessoed, opened up the envelopes and gessoed. So no matter what size book, you can stitch one of these in, and it doesn't matter if it opens into a flap, because later you can glue it. On that book I had folded a flap under and sewn it so as it was an open pocket. Open pocket here and an open pocket here, or there and there, depending. You could stitch it in this way into a book. But the thing I'm talking about today is the mass making aspect, where you've got a whole heap of stuff ready done, ready folded, ready to go into whichever spine you want to use. So obviously a bigger spine will take something a bit bigger, maybe the envelope. I might cut it down still, which is where you get that little offcut from the bottom if you do that. I love this little page, Every Man's Library. It is actually a story, but this particular era, the paper was just beautiful. Like, it's just just feels lovely. So I'm thinking I've got a few pages here, which is the index that I love. List of the volumes. Right, so this is actually a story. So I'm going to put that aside for now. I've got this one, cute little one. Put that aside for now. Put these aside. Alright, I've got some a little bit of turquoise. Got this packet is just from a $2 shop, Gessoed, and it's got these little sponges in. So you can use anything. I've just dampened it a bit because it is a little bit hard. I just want to load it up and just do some marks. And this is how we start to build up a bit of a interest on our little pages in our signatures. So we can do something over the top if we want. This is acrylic, so this needs to be washed. You either put it into a tub of water, soapy water first, or wash it off really quickly before it dries, otherwise it stains and it stays stuck on there. Now that they're dry, I can do a little bit of mark making. This is a paint marker. And also I've got some little notes on plants. So they're little sets that you can stick on. Water sample collection. Okay, so there's a few varieties. Travel Doesn't Care. Water sample collection. So I like this one. So if we're going to use these in a signature, if we were going to fold them, we might have something like this already stuck up here. Get a glue stick. So this is going to be ready to go. So I'm just making a pile. So these are all the little creative ways we can add to our junk journal. It doesn't have to just be plain paper. Okay, so as you can see, I've started my little stash of things to put into junk journals. Now, I've also got some doilies that I was going to use in my Journal of Stitchery, but I didn't. So they will need to be ironed, and they can be folded and ironed like that. These were some freebies off Artie Maze's Facebook. So Andrea gave these as freebies, so 1 or 2 of those. I've got a couple. So they'll go in my little mass making pile. Fold this in half. Tear them and fold them. Now my folding, I've got so you can use a ruler for a straight edge. You can use this sort of an edge, just a torn edge. None of it really matters. And also you can use tear rulers. So I've got tear rulers, but they're downstairs because like I say, I'm in the middle of switching rooms. So what I'm going to be doing is getting a little tub and building up a stash of all of these things. Now I can print out some more of these. These are from Francesca. So francescanoons.com, and this was Freedom to Create Art Papers, a freebie class, and she gave us these papers that we could print out. Now I don't mind putting these into a junk journal. They're just freebies I've printed out. I'm not claiming them as my own. I'm just using paper I've got around the house. And I said in episode 7 of the Journal of Stitchery that these inspire me because I love Francesca, her ways of pencil flowers and stuff. So these can go in as well. You can always print out some more. Also, I may not even be selling the books, so there's no copyright infringement in that case. They're probably just going to be made for me to sit on my desk. These can be as part of a junk journal. You can just rip off some of these edges if you want by hand. Anything goes, but for now I'm not necessarily cutting these down to size. I might want them big like that. Oh, and this was an antique crochet doily book, so I used the pages from that too. And what else have I got here? Alright, so I guess everyone would know this packing paper that has this lovely ready to go edge for tearing, and I think I'm going to make just one journal out of this whole thing. That's the size. If you have one and you fold it in half, that would be the size of your journal if you wanted to use them as is, but you could also do all sorts of things. Not going to do that right now because right now I am just collecting ready to go pages. Okay, here's one of my printouts from the gel plates. Here's a couple more that I was experimenting with that just didn't really quite work out, and that's okay. It doesn't matter, we can still use them. So this could be folded in half, and then cut around. I think I might make a kit. So I've got quite a few of these, so I'll make a little small kit if anyone wants to just buy them and print them out themselves. Right, so this is just a way, I've just got so many big piles of paper just sitting there. And this has actually got a background. If I match up the background, I really think that as much of this stuff I can use rather than throwing it out would be good. So you can see that this has got a slight background giving us a shape. So that could be used. Okay, I just found a ruler. So this could be a page. Okay, one of these. So even though this is just normal photocopy paper, you can still write on here, or if it's made into a junk journal, you can still paste something on that you can a pocket or write in. There's many things, and we'll just do a series of these, I think. If you like, you can go back. I've got a whole complete, I think, 30 days of junk journal making. So it's the whole thing from start to finish. If you want to go and have a look at that, I'll link that below. So this could just be a page. You could tear it in half, use it as 2 parts of signatures. I found a really very, well, this is a very big tear ruler. I don't know if I'd use that, but this has got quite deep. So these are a little bit hard. You have to do them in little bits and pieces and bend in a little bit, but it gives a rough edge. Depends what you're looking for. So we've got one with rough edges. So you see, it doesn't take long to build up our pile, but if I was going to make all of those covers that I did, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 covers there is, so much more than that is needed. Now, what else have I got? All right, so I've got a couple of my little printouts of maps of Melbourne. I quite like them. Put them in the stash. I always like putting a little bit of Melbourne in there. Why not? The city with the most of everything. The most changes in weather, the most lockdowns, the longest lockdowns. I do love Melbourne. But sometimes, honestly. These were just off an old antique, I don't know where I got them. I think I got them on a City of Melbourne old map sheet or something. Okay, so these are the children's atlas page that I've gessoed, ready to be painted over. I've got some of these music sheets. Now they could be, they're gessoed, so that's on the outside. So as I did with the last one in episode 7, with my showing you how I did it, I folded this up and sewed all the way around, and then when it's closed in signature, you've got an area to paint on and you've got a pocket area. So I'm not doing that now, of course. I'm just making my little pile of things ready to go, because every junk journal's different. We come up with new ideas. Now, don't forget, I've also got a couple of these little ones, which are really cute. This is a photocopy of my writing board from one of the previous junk journals, and this has been gessoed over. So that's got something on both sides, so that can be folded and put in. So some people, or we in the old days even, before we knew about junk journals, we would just chuck them away. All right, so let's make a couple of these ready to go. Doesn't matter what's on them. this one in too. That is the envelope offcut, because it is gessoed, so it can be a little painting design on there. Alright, we're getting quite a good stash, but what I'm going to do, I can keep going, there's plenty more things, but I've got a little box or tub of things I've already made that are just sitting there, I think from the 100-day project probably. And I'm just going to grab that and bring that over and just see if there's anything else we can add into this pile. Sometimes it's handy to have a couple of little envelopey things or things ready to go. Okay, I've got plenty more of this brown paper, but I did some off camera. I thought, oh dear, there's a lot of that. But like I say, I think I was watching Mix It Up Marcy the other day use some of this and made a tiny little cute journal. And she just drew pears all the way through it, and that was gorgeous. I loved that, Marcy. That was really nice. Right, there's that. All right, so our pile's getting bigger. All right, this is not necessarily all ready to go, but that could be stuck onto a page or used like that, so you can see on this side. Got some pre-made things. 2 of those. Got a couple of pre-made tags from the Kandinsky Day. They can go in. What else is in here? I've got a couple of beautiful nymph ladies tags ready-made. Yes, a couple of little envelopes. See, I'm just aiming to use up all this stuff I've just got sitting here that could just get thrown out. Right, I've got a notebook. This is a little notebook. This is a ready-made little junk journal, ready to go. But if it's a larger junk journal, that can be stuck into a pocket. So I've got plenty of things. This was one with Wendy's cat. Wendy's cat. So this is ready to go. It's got tags ready to go. It's got pages to be drawn on or written on. And this is Tim Holtz paper on this one. So I might have to sell some of these. There's just too much. All right, so I had a moment. I was making a whole heap of Peter Rabbit things. So here's a little card ready to go. In an envelope, that's ready to go. This is already a junk journal ready-made. Don't know, that's sort of separate, isn't it? Got this one. These are a lot of my 100-day project things. This little envelope with a little tuck spot. These might actually be, this might be too big to put in. I think we were learning how to make this sort of a closure on an envelope. Maybe? Probably too big. I might just put that with that. Right, I've got a couple of these. Right, these are little envelope books. Junk journals made with envelopes. So let's take that out and that out. So they're ready to go junk journals. My little Scotland junk journal with little mats and flowers and pockets. Got my Paris one. So that's thin enough to actually stick in a junk journal. What else have I got here? This is made from an old real estate magazine. Might just curve the corners of that. That's ready to go. All right. So the rest in this tub are my personal artworks, which also look. This was just practicing pouring, but it wasn't. That's not anything I would use. What else? this one didn't really, no, neither of those two, I wasn't happy at all with those, and they didn't really work out at all. And here's another one. So I can use those as well. Let's see. That's why I throw them away. Right, I'll put these back in the tub because they're kind of ready to go already. This can be folded. It's just thicker card, but you know, you can write over it. It's not so dark that you couldn't write over the top of it. And yes, it's thicker, but that doesn't matter. That's okay. Actually, I'll take the Paris out because that's complete. Getting quite a stash. This will be fun. And this is really cheap, horrible watercolour paper, so nothing really came out very nice on it that I was doodling around with. But this is ready. Look at this. This is ready for some mark making. Ready to go. Not that this is what I'm meant to be doing right now, but distracted as usual. It's not showing up so much, but if that was in a journal and you felt like doing some mark making, that would work. This is quite thick. It could almost be a cover. But what I think, it's a really good quality watercolour. Why not just fold that in half? If you had it in the middle of a signature, you've got 2 pages for watercolour. Why waste it? Why throw it out? Also, ready for mark making, splotches. Dry before putting it in the pile. There we go. Okay, now here's my pile so far. Plenty. Now what else have I got? Now I have been known to use National Geographics. Now it's shiny, so it really lends itself to being gessoed and then painted on. But you know, page like this, put it in. You might want to leave those monkeys there. You might not. I find monkeys creepy. Otherwise, I have just got piles and piles and piles of books on the bookshelf. Things like this. You might want to make an orange journal. And that page, I'm going to love that page. I would love that page in one of my journals because I would like to look at it. Alright, so I also love and respect seeing in a junk journal really top quality photography, so that's beautiful. But that is one whole page, so I might be more inclined to want to cut that out and use it as a collage. Not going to do it right now because the point isn't to be making things from your pages. The point is at the moment I'm just gathering anything of interest. And you know, you can get these sorts of things always. I think I must have had one of these episodes of National Geographic before because I'm sure I've used them because I love that. I love that watery leaf. Vincent J. Musey's photography. Beautiful. So somehow I would cover up maybe this inside, or I might use it. I mean, it depends. Depends what you feel like. So there's a couple of pages. And don't forget, you can always cut them down, you can always bevel their edges, you can do whatever you like. Okay, so there's some more ideas. Now, the other thing I've got for my mass making in this pile here. So I've got, that's been used for gluing. I have got this cute little book. Now that came out of a different cover, Joseph Haydn cover, which I've got downstairs. I've got a few covers that I'd already started with, and they have got bits of material in to make a material book. So they're downstairs. So I haven't gotten onto those yet. Now these lend themselves to a bit more slightly childlike book. So Gina, now what's Gina's YouTube called? I can't think. Makes very more childlike books with lots of stickers and lots of bright colours. That might be something you'd love. And this is what I was saying before about I didn't want the Stalin book because I didn't particularly like, if this is your work and you're putting work over the top, and Laurie Murray Jenkins, have a look at hers, she calls putting layers underneath as underpants, and I love that. That just makes me laugh every single time. But if your underpants is something really nice and light, I think it has a good energy for your book. It starts off well. Okay, so I've got a bit of old Paris map here. Now, these have all, this pile here has all been tea stained or coffee dyed. Probably tea stained, knowing me. So that's a small thing that can go in. These are coffee stained maps from just Australian maps. More ready to go. Right, so I'm not going to do all of these on camera, but I'm just showing you what I have got in my pile. I'll do them after. I've got some printouts from, I think this was something that didn't quite work out. It went all faded when I was tea staining it in the water, because I've got an inkjet, and so if it's still a bit wet it can just go a bit murky. And some dots from Donna's, got a little how to make your own little dot page. Let's see if I can hunt that up. Donna from Junk Journal Ideas. I've put that link before. Okay, this is tea stained with doilies. So we've got quite a bit of this sort of stuff. Just adds a little bit of interest to the background. It's not, you haven't got it for the actual design or anything, but it just adds some interest to, maybe you'll get an idea. Maybe you might think, oh, that reminds me of these little notes, and I'll stick one of those on. Alright, so I've got quite a bit of that sort of stuff. Now in this is good for collage fodder. I don't think I'd use that as a bit of my book because it's a bit small. I'll do all those after. Now I've also got from my kids books for school, graph paper, which has been tea dyed. I've already got videos on how I did this and when I did this, so I'll link everything below. I'll be linking all day. Doilies, just find that same edge, fold. Now this is a bit rich, so I might be inclined to do that, use that as collage fodder. And just fold this in half. No idea why. I think I was dyeing little tiny bits of paper for that. I'll probably find it in a second. So these are good. These are good for bulking up your journal with bits of ready dyed tea stained writing paper. Let me see what else. Don't think any of these have been. That's tissue paper. We don't need that. So I was stamping on tissue paper, but that's not anything I'm going to use. So I did some, these are coffee paper filters, so I dyed them and then stamped them. They don't always fit because they're quite long, so depending on what size you're using. Got some ready folded green ones. So I'm seeing that I've actually got quite a lot here ready to go, which is great, and a lot of non-folded. Okay, that looks disgusting. That was me attempting to do some plant dyeing. Doesn't look so nice. Maybe we won't use that one. But this one worked out okay. I like that. But as I say, you could be just sticking anything on top of these. All right, so often I put a little bit of my artwork in. However, this is too big and I'm not folding it down, so I would possibly cut it. Maybe I could fold that in half. Right, so that's an original. I do often stick one original in my little junk books, junk journals. Okay. Yeah. I always have quite a few little of these cards ready to go that I've already dyed and printed out. Right, so I have printed these out, or I have used the gel plate. So I've got a few of these, pile of them ready to go. Also, I've got some little hearts. I mean, they go in really well, but you could also just use them to stick on an actual page, so I won't do any of that yet. What else? Okay, so in one of the junk journal groups I'm in, I got a whole heap of old actual file cards. So I don't know, I mean, they could be something that you gesso over, but the backs mostly are blank for writing on. Put them in that pile. Right, so that's it for my getting ready my junk journal mass making. What I need, I'll just find a box to put these in so as I can have them all stacked up, and I'll fold these, and then I'm done. I'm ready for the start. So I'll see you in the next one, and thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye for now.